If you get the maximum rent, right, for this property, then you get the maximum price for it. That's when it comes to negotiating. I don't care about what another property sold for 6.8 million. It's a 50 unit because his income is higher. Most investors, these guys will know that, right? It's based on income.
What is up, you guys? Matt McKeever here, and so we got another Kasey video for you. But first of all, let's address the elephant in the room, the red jacket. It's at the dry cleaners. Today's also laundry day, so I don't even have a black t-shirt. But I did kind of want to show you guys these amazing new photos we got for the Mastermind Mansion. If you guys are interested in ever coming out on one of the limo tours like these people did, or coming out just check out the mansion, I'll have a link in the video description down below, so jump over there. But otherwise, this video with Kasey is absolutely amazing. I actually stumbled upon a private pocket listing, which was for a 50-unit parcel of buildings. We got Kasey's opinion on how he would approach analyzing these properties, how he would do his due diligence, and just all kinds of amazing tips and tricks from the master of real estate himself. If you guys are enjoying these videos with Kasey, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and otherwise, let's hand it off to Kasey. So guys, I thought it'd be kind of fun. We stumbled upon a private deal in London, Ontario that kind of fits Kasey's profile. So essentially I was just having a breakfast coffee with a realtor that's a buddy. He mentioned, we're just talking about an area in London that most people probably don't really love. I mentioned how I had a fourplex there, and he was like, oh, I forgot you had that fourplex. He's like, maybe you'd be interested in this pocket listing. And so what it is it's a 38 unit building, 2.5-story walk up.
Yep.
And then there's across the street a 12 unit building, 2.5-story walk up. So it's 50 units total.
Good.
And this is just the initial information. I'll throw it up on the screen for everyone, but I'll just share it with Kasey essentially. But so here's the numbers. Costs are taken from last year and gross annual rent is calculated from our current rent roll. Okay. All numbers are annual. All numbers are for both buildings combined. So right now they have 426,000 in gross rents, 11,000 in laundry income, about 55,000 in repairs and maintenance, about 32,000 in utilities, 64,000 in property taxes, and then right now they're self-managing, so they just threw in a random number for management. Insurance is about 12,000, and so they're essentially saying we never have vacancies. Our current rent rates are $870 for a 2-bedroom, $760 for a 1-bedroom, and $790 for a 1+ den. They were essentially concentrating on improving the tenant profile because it is in this transitioning neighborhood, but it is close to one of the hospitals, which is something that I'm naturally attracted to. So 70%, it's kind of weird what some people focus on too, but they were like, we also target single occupants. So 70% of all our apartments have 1 occupant. I just found that an interesting thing to focus on because it's something that doesn't, like, sure, I wouldn't want 5 people in a 1-bedroom, but I wouldn't really stress whether it was 1 or a couple. But, and so rent includes heat and hot water, but not hydro. Makes sense. All apartments are individually metered. That's why they're able to charge hydro. So essentially they got 2 high efficiency, high volume hot water tanks, provide all the hot water for the 38 unit. And so I think that's like brand new. So that's like 1 month old. Flat roof stripped to steel, new roof, insulation and drainage added on the 12 unit. And then new shingles on the, or no, vice versa, sorry, that was the 38. New shingles on the, well, 6-year-old shingles on the 12 unit. 12 gas fireplaces at the 12 unit one. Those are 5 years old. Replaced 8 leased laundry units, not that that overly matters. And so essentially it's 25 2-bedrooms, 13 1-bedrooms, 12 1-bedrooms plus dens, 52 paved parking spots. And essentially that's high level what they've given us. So because this was a realtor that I kind of know and stuff, he was like, so we're starting out at 6, but if we end up at 5.8, we'd be happy. And so I just thought, how would you, like, I'm sure everyone would love to know. I'd also just selfishly love to know, what would your thoughts be? How would you approach it? So we've like pulled it up on Google Street View, if that helps you at all.
No. Okay. So you have to know your location. So you said it's an up and coming neighborhood. It's a rougher part. So you have to know where London is, where it's situated. If it's close to the hospital, can you get these workers there into your building? So so my fourplex is actually further into the bad side of London, and so right now I have a nurse renting one of my apartments. When I bought the property, I tried to buy her out of her lease. She refused. She was like, no, I love it. It's 1 bus to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. So it seems possible, but at the same time, I think like locals have a bit of a stigma to anything that's east of Adelaide, and that's just kind of the way locals are. But otherwise, it does seem possible that you can get
the workers related to the hospital working there.
So perfect. This is a good example. So at the very get-go, you're going to take a look at the rent. They're going to give you probably a pro forma of what the rents could be. But
and that's what they've done here.
They've done that.
They've taken what all the rents are and they've projected 100% occupancy.
Yeah,
And
you can't take those numbers. So what you do is that you're going to be taking a look at sort of ads, and you're going to walk into a few of those rental units, the vacant units, your neighbors. Okay, so you're going to look at that. You're going to see what they're renting for. So that's current. Okay, so whatever they're renting for, you said it's 800 for it too. Let's say they're renting for about 900, 950.
Yeah.
Something renovated, something nice. Or you're gonna be putting ads out, some ghost ads.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be putting some ghost ads out, probably 2 or 3 of them. Renovated, this location, you can put whatever. It's like that's what you're gonna be doing. You can also put some of these ads in the bulletin boards in
those,
in the hospitals, right? In the cafeteria, you're gonna be putting that. I've done that once for my Chapel Street property. I went close to the, there's a little strip mall, there's like a grocery store. And I started putting these ads out on the card, you know, the windshield, right? And I said, it was a bad ad, but this is what I said. I said, sleep with me, I'm a 1-bedroom. But that was like, I was like, oh shoot. Like it said, sleep with me. And then my wife and I were just like putting it on, I was like, it got, you know, wrong take, right, on that. But it was like, sleep with me for this 1-bedroom, right? But then anyways, I got a call from the management of that strip mall and they said, get rid of this. I'm like, okay, I'll quickly get rid of it, right? But you do what you can. So you push the envelope a little. So you're gonna, number one is that you're gonna, pro forma, you're gonna take a look at those, the area. You can see what the current rent is, see what they're renting it for, and then put your ghost ads, maybe 2 or 3 of them. You're gonna be spacing those out. So you have 50 units, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna do a 5-year snapshot, okay? So those 5 years, you can do all those repair. Remember, I talked about the expense? You're gonna be pushing it out on your spreadsheet, right? So it's not just 1 year. You're gonna be pushing it out for 5 years because that's your, you're gonna do your financing over those 5 years.
Yeah.
You're gonna do those, let's just say about, on a quick high level, 50 units on the first year, you're gonna turn over probably a good 7 or 8. So let's say 8 units out of the 50, which is fine. So you're gonna do an 8 first year, second year it'll be a 7, and that might be a 5, 5, 5 turnover.
Yeah.
Those 8, 7, 5, 5, you're gonna take those numbers, that new number now for that new rent, you're gonna drop that in, make sense?
Yep.
So let's say it's gonna be renting for 1,100, all renovated, you're gonna do that payback period and all that, you're gonna do all your calculations for your any kind of deferred maintenance. It doesn't seem like there's much, but there could be. Now you're gonna be doing that, right? So you're gonna do over 5 years, and then you're gonna do all your expenses, let's say insurance, property management, and do a 2% increase because of inflation. Now you have a 5-year you have a 5-year snapshot of what
expected,
of rent and expenses. So you're looking over not just 1 year, but over a 5-year time period. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Now, over those 5 years, after that 5 years, you're going to put that term out for your financing. You're going to show a 5-year. You're going to see what the projected rent is over those 5 years. It's going to be that's the art of it. There's an art and there's a science, but that art is that you're gonna guess this. These are all guesstimates. And you're gonna guess that over those 5 years. Because you may have those 8 turnovers, 7, 5, 5, 5, right? Or you could have 10, you can have 3 and then 2, whatever. It's gonna be all over the place, but you're gonna be somewhere close. Right? So that's, again, you're gonna get those numbers from for your rent, your income, then all your expenses. You should have essentially all the numbers from the seller, all those numbers, all the it's gonna probably be a 2 years expenses. They should have all the utilities, have their insurance, all of that into calculation. So you know somewhere where it's going to be. Make sense?
This is ballparks.
Yeah, you ballpark it. Now you have a fourplex that you can sort of compare, right? You can multiply that out. It's going to be a little bit more because you don't have the economies of scale. Right? So you can compare that with a fourplex. If you had a 10 or let's say a 20plex is a little bit easier, but you're going to compare that with maybe a 30 unit, whatever's on the market. So you have to compare a bigger unit with a bigger unit.
And so do you keep especially at the start, did you keep a database of all the different deals you looked at? So you could go back and look at hey, I've looked at a 30plex before, it had this.
That's right. So we're always looking. My wife does all of that. So she's good. She's a numbers person. She likes that. She likes analyzing the deals and putting the numbers together, and we compare. So I will know property management side, I know buildings, and then we sort of brainstorm. We'll take a look. we'll take a look at, let's say this 50 unit building, or it's a 38 plus a 12, we're gonna look at that and see, does it make sense, right? So whatever he's selling it, let's say 5 million or...
He's asking it sounds like 5.8 is what he wants.
Yeah, see...
5 is much more where I'd like it to be.
Yeah, does it make sense? So what's the rent, what is it gonna drive? Like how many turnovers? Because you want that sort of puppy, you want that little property to turn over, right?
Yes, yeah, because it is under rented. I think,
right.
like kind of what you were saying, I think market rents for those 2 bedrooms are probably 1,000 to 1,100.
That's right.
In the moment, if you could snap your fingers and get those rents immediately on all the units, all of a sudden his price becomes much more reasonable.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So he's selling it at a pretty high level, price-wise. So you have to work. You have to get at a good price. It might not be worth 5.8. It could be worth only 4.8, because now if his rents are really that low, tenants are not going to leave. You're not going to get financing,
That's
right?
one of my concerns. Yeah.
You're not going to be able to get financing. So he has to know what he's selling. As even my 10plex, when I was selling it at a fire sale, I had to sell it quick to get my 65. I had to sell it fairly quickly at a low price, and I knew that because I would have lost that deal. Would have lost my deposit down, right? So it depends. Like, I know my financing, his financing, the new buyer's financing wouldn't be high enough, right? Like the banks won't fund it because the rents are low. I just didn't, I was sort of a landlord that, I couldn't keep it up. People weren't turning over as much, right? So my rents were low. Same thing with this. Once the value is not there because of the rent, so you may offer him something that makes sense. It could be a 6 cap, or it could be something where, because his rents are, like when you do let's say a 5 cap and it's only valued at 4.7 or 4.8 million, that's what it's worth. The value is the same. If you do your analysis or you do your calculation, it's going to be the same for another investor, same for another. You can go back to him and say, this is the value of it. I can't offer you any more because I'm not going to get financing for it, because you sort of quote unquote mismanaged it in a way, right? Because you didn't get the maximum rent. If you get the maximum rent, right, for this property, then you get the maximum price for it, right? So he has to understand that there's no emotions involved. So he can't say, oh, I want this at 5.8. It's not valued at 5.8. It's only valued at 4.8, right? So you go back to him and say, hey, this is only valued at 4.8. I can work with you for a bit. I can do a 4.9 million, 5 million, but let's just say, can you do a VTB on that? Can you do this or that? So that's when it comes to negotiating, right? That's when you say, hey, okay, now this is a good deal. I'm getting a 4.8 million for this 50 units because your rents are low. And you always have to go back to the price, the income, because the income dictates the price, right? There's no lofty numbers that he can just pull out of the air, right? He can say, I want 5.8 because I like this property and you should like it too. No, this doesn't work that way. I don't care about what another property sold for 6.8 million. It's a 50 unit because his income is higher. So you have to slap that in his face and say, hey, you know what? Your income is not there. This is what it's valued at. My bank is only going to value it at this because your income is this, right? So he'll step back and goes, oh yeah, that's right. It's only valued at 4.8. I'm offering you 4.8. This is fair market value, right? And most investors, these guys will know that, right? It's based on income.
And do you find, is that a long period of back and forth? Yeah.
So it depends. Like some investors, whatever, these landlords, they know that, right? It's strictly a game in a way, not a game when I'm like, don't get me wrong. It's a negotiating, right? So can it take long? It can take long, right? It can take long because he wants the highest price, but his income doesn't help support it. Right? So it's going back to income. It's not location or whatever. It's not like if he had that in Sudbury or whatever, or something really far, like north, he had that's worth 4.8, regardless of location, right? Like if he's getting, let's say that 50, whatever it's per month, whatever that X amount price is on that income, that's what he's getting, regardless of location. That's what the value should be. Right? Of course, it's different because obviously if you're going to, like, let's say a remote place, you're not going to have that capital appreciation. My suggestion is that you take that capital appreciation and put it back into the cash flow, because you're losing. Like, let's say I'm in way north, 10 hours away. It's only accessible by plane or whatever, right? It's really far. So you're not going to have that appreciation. You're going to have a flat appreciation. You're going to buy that 5 million. It's going to be valued at 5 million for 25 years from now. So you're going to take that 5%. You're going to put it into the cash flow. So now it should be instead of a 5, you want a higher cash flow. You want a higher cap rate, because you have to be getting something for something, right? It's not, you can't get a 5 cap in London and a 5 cap in, let's say Sudbury or whatever, like to it's gonna be different. Okay, so know your areas. Like London is a big metropolitan city. If you go outside, what's another?
Like Sarnia would be a smaller market.
Okay,
yeah.
If you know that market, then if the appreciation is not there, then you should get in the cash flow. Okay, and it should be a little bit more, even more than the cash flow. Let's say it's 5% cash flow, 5% appreciation. You get that on the cash flow, then you should probably do another 2%. So it should be 12%, right? Why would I invest in Sarnia if I'm getting the same rate as London? I'll do London then. Make sense?
Yeah.
But sometimes cash flow is great because that's how you retire. So cash flow, you want that, you need that cash flow, right? So everybody is chasing that. REITs are chasing that. You guys are chasing that. Like everybody, I am, because you need that cash flow on a monthly basis because you still have to.
It sustains you,
it sustains you, right?
So any suggestions? So like I've kind of learned a bit about this guy's backstory. He's kind of looking to retire, but he's not super motivated.
Right.
And I know that one of the things a lot of like the guys my age or Adam's age, when they're out starting to look at larger multifamilies, it's often someone that's like close to retirement, but like they're not super motivated either, so they're kind of on a fishing expedition. Any thoughts or tips on how to deal with those sort of people, or just you stay in contact and keep hitting them?
Stay in contact. Like these are the people that would want to sell. Eventually, sometimes the kids don't want this because it's a headache for them, right? They have a full-time job. They could be a good career, and they want to deal with tenants, right? Stay in contact with them because eventually they're going to sell. And you either get that property directly maybe from them or like whatever, it's like through an agent or whatever, right? But stay in contact with them, right? The agent's probably the best. Like they're they're handing out whatever, their flyers or whatever, it's like their emails. They're gonna be a good contact. Your agents are gonna be spreading that out to all these people that want to retire. So stay in contact with that person.
Awesome. And then so one more question I know everyone's going to have is about how do you bring up the subject of VTBs, or any thoughts on some of the best practices for when you're trying to
there's no
want a magic bullet, Kasey.
There's no magic bullet. Whatever Adam's doing, whatever you guys are doing, I do the same thing. You try to meet them, you try to cover letter, it could be in the agreement purchase and sale, the appendix, it could be anywhere. So you're putting that in. So put that in. People who's selling want to hear it. Like they want to know if there's a VTB, right? Sometimes it's better for them because of taxes, right? So
like, do you ever like literally try and break down a schedule explaining the tax benefits to them, or is it more just like you're floating the idea and see?
We usually float the idea. Like we don't. A lot of the people that we buy it from, like these. They usually know about it. They are sophisticated. They know about it. They're actually more sophisticated than the average person. So when I buy this one, he didn't really know about it. But my other buildings, they knew about it. Right? It's a different playing field. When you get into the bigger units, people understand VTBs. They understand all of these, like the NOIs, the cap rates. They've been in this business, right? I bought the 65 unit. He does actually own about 400 or 500 units, right? So the person that I bought it from, he's a landlord himself, so he knows this game, right? It's nothing new, but you present it. You always ask, right? Again, same thing. You always ask.
Perfect.
So going back, let's just talk about that London property. So you're gonna dissect each and every one of these. You're gonna do for the rent. You can dissect that. You're gonna see what it's valued at. Okay, so you know that pro forma, you know what you're getting into on prices. So if it's $800 for a two, it should be, let's say, about $1,100 or $1,200. Then you go to the expenses, right, and see if it makes sense. The property management, on a property management, it's going to be a 3 to 5%, right, on gross rent, right? So know your figures, right? It's going to be on gross rent. It's not going to be on purchase price rent. So, like, you have to know that.
And what sort of, we touched upon it in a different video, but just to share with them for this video, what sort of vacancy rate do you often factor in when you're looking at a property? Because he's done 100% occupancy.
Yeah, you can't do that. So usually they do 5%, right? So my wife, I don't remember that number, but I think it's around 5%. Around 5%, right? On that gross rent, and you put that aside. Advertising expenses, same thing. You're going to be putting that as well. So we line itemize each and every expenses, and we try to break it out. Like, we go very, very specific, right? So it could be cleaning costs, it could be renovating units. Like, these are specific costs, right? So you should know that when you're budgeting and all your expenses on an annual basis, you should come in line with what you're budgeting, right? So you know all that. It's like budgeting, this is your budget, this is what my 65 unit, it's a 32 and a 33. We can sort of break it out.
Yeah.
So it's very close to a 50 unit, and now we can really know those numbers.
Yeah,
right?
get as close to apples
Exactly.
as possible.
It's never going to be exact. There always will be some type of an art involved. So you're projecting turnover. You're projecting like some of the expenses you can sort of get, but you always, whenever I looked at the vendor's numbers, I seriously, we actually put a 5% bump up or even a 10%. We're not going to take his numbers for like he may have a preferred rate from his insurance. We do like a 20%, like let's say he got it for $1,000, we can do $1,200.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know what we're going to get, so you have to project something a little bit higher.
That was epic, am I right? Kasey just dropped knowledge bomb after knowledge bomb on us. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you made it to the end, I'm assuming you enjoyed it. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new here, but otherwise, I'd love to hear in the comment section, what were your thoughts on that deal? What were your thoughts on Kasey's tips? And what sort of due diligence process would you do when you're looking at a 50 unit property? 50 units is definitely a step up. The largest parcel I've personally ever purchased was 20 units, and that was a big, scary transaction at the time. So the idea of getting into 50 units is a whole new ball game. It's a whole new sport, in fact. So I'd love to get your suggestions for myself and my team as we do the due diligence process on this 50 unit property. Jump in the comment section down below. Otherwise, until the next video, remember, making money is a team sport. There's more than enough money in this world for us to all make it, but if you're not saving it, I mean, like, what's the point? Thanks, guys. Bye.